Just 2 weeks removed from the season opening race of the AST Voltson Super Trucks, we go from the largest oval on the schedule by far to one of the very smallest. We're at the Flat Rock Speedway in Flat Rock, Michigan for race 2 of the season, and taking the pole position would be Caitlin Holt in truck number 83. This is the first pole position in the Super Trucks for Ace Racing, and on her outside is Jason Miller, who starts in the front row for the second race in a row. Holt gets a great start off the line to begin the race, with Danny Richards Jr., who started in third, already taking a look for the lead, but there's trouble already, and right behind the leaders, Juan Cortez got turned to the outside and brings out the first caution of the day right off the start. Cortez, we have not even gotten a chance to mention that he qualified in 5th, an excellent qualifying run for the Midwest Motors driver, but the race is over for him already as he gets turned around by Matt Jacobs and Jason Miller and flipped upside down down the backstretch. Miller ran wide on the entry into turn 1, he overshot the corner, came back down when Jacobs was already there, and poor Cortez just got swept up in it, having no business in starting off that accident. A couple more trucks get involved, including Cortez's teammate Alex DeFranco, Danny Vigo, the Michigan winner from last week, and Brianna Prinzhorn as well, and that's a big disappointment for Cortez especially, who will go out of the race right on the start. No chance to show what speed he had today, but there is always next week at Toledo. On the restart, Holt leads over Danny Richards Jr. as Andy Piper and Wilson Timothy fight for third, and Richards Jr. Showing absolutely no willingness to wait around in second place, bumping into the back of Holt and giving her a hurry up already. Richards Jr. reckoning that it's never too early on a short track to use the bumper, but he's going to get to the inside of the 83 truck on his own without contact just a few moments later, and Holt fighting back on the outside valiantly for a few laps, but eventually Richards Jr. is going to complete the pass and move into the lead. At the other end of the field, we have a couple of trucks who are making their first appearance in the Voltson Super Trucks today. This number 777 SAR is piloted by Thomas Lancaster of New York, the acclaimed and accomplished indoor racer, making his first start in full-size cars here today, but he's in big trouble off of turn 2 as he gets turned hard into the outside wall, and that's the other debutante racer, Morgan Christian, the 49, who got caught up in that with him. Christian had been holding up the 94 of Alex DeFranco, who appears to have gotten a little impatient while trying to get around him, and an innocent Lancaster gets turned hard into the wall as a result. He will definitely be winded after an impact like that, and unfortunately for Lancaster and Christian, their first race ends very early for the both of them. On the restart, Danny Richards Jr. continues to lead over Caitlin Holt, with Andy Piper having won out in the battle for third with Wilson Timothy coming back to the previous caution, but Timothy wants that third spot back and is not going to give Piper a chance to go after Holt for second. Timothy, of course, is a previous winner of this race, having taken the victory 4 years ago in 2017, going for his second win and trying to become the latest repeat winner at this track here today. Timothy eventually wins out in that battle after a spirited defense from Piper, and now he's going for second to the inside of truck number 83, trying to take that spot away. But unlike Richards Jr. before him, he's not going to be able to clear Holt, as she uses the momentum of the high lane to fight back and hold on to the second spot. Andy Piper and Matt Jacobs are still in the mix in this ongoing battle for second, with Robert Embry, Brian Kelly, and Daniela Jacobson running 6th, 7th, and 8th right behind them. Legend Hart is running in 9th with Jason Miller, trying to recover from his lap 1 accident, rounding out the top 10. Back at the front, Danny Richards Jr. has caught the back end of the field as he closes in on the 00 of Dale Clow and tries to put him a lap down, but he has to try a little harder than I think he wanted to, as Clow blocked the inside lane and forced Richards Jr. to back off the throttle. It has posed no threat to his lead, though, as he was running well ahead of second place Caitlin Holt, as the rest of the field now proceeds to put Clow in their rears one at a time, including his own teammate Flip Papadopoulos in truck number 0, but Clow runs turn 1 really wide and goes all the way up into the outside wall, bounces off the backstretch wall as well, and turns Pedro Menares around in the process. Truck number 21 gets spun up into the outside wall and brings out the caution yet again. Clow, despite his lack of speed, managed to overdrive turn 1 anyway, rode the wall all the way around the corner until he bounced off down into Tiffany Rogers and sent the poor 21 truck of Pedro Menares spinning backwards. It's not going to inflict much damage upon Menares' truck, fortunately for him, but it is going to put him at the back of the field for the restart. He was running in the midfield at this point, riding on board the 78 as the 00 ricochets off the barrier and down into her path, giving her no time to respond, and it's fortunate for Rogers that she received no major damage in that accident either. There are 2 lap trucks on the inside for the restart now, as Max Resner got put a lap down by Richards Jr. before that yellow as well, and unfortunately for the rest of the field, this means that Clow is going to be in the way right at the drop of the green flag, and Alex Robbins does not have the patience to wait for him. Clow gets spun around off the bumper of the 26, and Jason Miller gets a small piece of that as well. Little damage has been done to Miller's truck, but he will lose several positions in the process. And the next restart's not going to go much better for the field either, as this time Clow pushes up into Andy Piper and puts Brian Kelly in the wall off of turn number 4. Kelly was looking to have a clean run here today after dropping out of the race very early at MIS, and he was off to an excellent start too, but unfortunately he's been involved in another crash as Clow pushed up the track and into Andy Piper, and when he broke loose he left Brian Kelly with few options other than to turn him around. That is the 3rd caution in quick succession that has involved Dale Clow and his truck, and it won't be the last of them either, as Daniela Jacobson turns him sideways and kicks him aside on the next restart as she tries not to lose too much ground to Brian Kelly. Back under green once more, with Richards Jr. still in the lead, and having not faced much opposition from Caitlin Holt since he took that spot from her, as the field tries to get another green flag run in. Richards Jr. has been performing outstandingly well today, not just because he is in the lead, but because he has very little experience at this point in his young career. He's only 15 years old and has not had many races outside of his home track at Anderson Speedway, but he has been the truck to beat here so far today. The Anthony Griffith team knows how to get the job done in this series, and from the looks of it, so does their new driver. We have a truck on the move in the mid-stages of the race. On the restart, Daniela Jacobson restarted in 8th right behind Brian Kelly, but she has already made her way past Kelly, Matt Jacobs, Wilson Timothy, and Robert Embry. The Team Michigan racer, out of seemingly nowhere, has dropped the hammer and gone storming her way towards the front of the field. She's been making it look easy too. Passing on this track is typically a bit of a slower and more methodical process than many other tracks, and Andy Piper forces his way through the middle of Jacobson and the lapped car of Max Resner, nearly wrecking them all in turn 1, but luckily they all got away with that, as Jacobson clears Piper for 3rd and wastes no time going for 2nd on Caitlin Holt. Holt's not going to make it easy for Jacobson though, throwing it really deep into turn 3 and running way wide, trying to hang on to that spot as they're going to take the yellow flag with Holt just ahead of the 57 at the line. The caution is out once again, and this time it's for Brianna Princehorn, who has made up a lot of ground in spite of the damage that is been visibly suffered by that truck, until she gets turned around after contact with Alex DeFranco and Alex Robbins. That's going to send truck number 7 to the back of the field, or at least to the end of the lead lap for the restart, but that restart's not going to last for long, as Amberly Weiss gets spun around by Robbins, who has now caused a few accidents here today. Weiss has not enjoyed nearly as strong of a run today as her longtime friend Jacobson has, but fortunately she receives no damage in the incident. On the restart, Danny Richards Jr. runs really wide, driving it deep into turn number 1, but keeps it together and keeps all the momentum through the corner as well. No challenge from Holt for the lead as of yet, but further back in the midfield, Brian Kelly is going to get spun to the inside and back up the track in turn 3 by Sarah Morsaw, who got into him off the corner and did not get away from his bumper until it was way too late. Dale Clow and Robert Embry got absolutely cleaned out as a result of this. They had no clue what was coming. Taking a look at what happened again, Kelly was trying to move to the inside of Matt Jacobs while Morsaw was trying to go underneath him, and she did not stop leaning on the 6 truck until its trajectory had already been set. Kelly had been doing a great job racing up in the top 10 with all the damage that his truck has sustained, but that's going to send him much further back in the field than he has been at this point. Same with Robert Embry and Matt Jacobs. That's going to reshuffle the top 10 running order quite a bit, as Richards Jr. and Holt 1-2 once again for the restart, as they have been many times so far today. Richards Jr. has had to hold off the competition behind him, by which I mean Caitlin Holt, many times over now, but it looks like Holt might not be the only driver he's got to fend off if he wants this victory, as Daniela Jacobson has gotten back to work on her charge to the front, going to the inside of Holt and pulling up alongside Richards Jr. into turn number 3. Jacobson, just like that, is now going for the lead of the race on the inside of truck number 70 and trying to make the most she can of the shorter way around the track. But Richards Jr. fighting back on the high line and providing the latest example of how evenly matched the two grooves here are. Jacobson has been able to enter the corner and roll along the inside like no one else, but Richards Jr., with the momentum that he's carrying by taking wider radii through the corners, has been able to beat her to the finish line every lap thus far, and this battle has no end in sight. These two duking it out, going side by side for lap after lap. I wonder if Richards Jr. is prepared to take this battle all the way to the checkered flag. Contact between the two of them as Jacobson pushes up the corner a little bit. These two clearly leaving nothing on the line as they go for the win. Richards Jr. getting a bit of an edge over her now after that little slip up in turn 3, and trying to hold her off, and she's coming right back down low. These two are coming up in the lap car of Dale Clow now, who might play interference in this battle for the win, and that's precisely what's going to happen. Richards Jr. has to back off the throttle as he's not sure where Clow's going, and Daniela Jacobson moves into the lead. She was only barely left enough room to get by Clow herself, but Richards Jr. now finds himself in second place with fewer than 10 laps to go. Having dominated the entire race up to this point, he's going to try and get that win back if he can help it. And look who's moved up into third out of seemingly nowhere. Danny Vigo, after getting involved in that lap 1 crash, is all of a sudden up into the podium. I have no idea where this 8 truck came from, but he's clearly got a lot of speed in the late stages here. There's more battles, though, than just the one up front. Here we are looking at the battle for 9th between Brianna Prinzhorn, Jason Miller, and Pedro Menarez. All three of these drivers going for a much-needed top 10. Miller after having been involved in a couple wrecks, and Prinzhorn as well. There's no hood on that 7 truck as it stands, and Pedro Menarez looking for the first top 10 of his career. Jacobson, in the meantime, is trying to open up as big of a lead over Danny Richards Jr. as she can get away with, slowly inching further and further ahead of truck number 70 as we approach the final laps, and the yellow flag is in the air. The caution is out on the speedway. Daniela Jacobson takes the yellow as the leader, and the lead is hers to keep. The race is going to end behind the pace truck, and it looks as if, assuming the 57 truck can make it all the way back to the checkered flag, she will have her first career victory. Let's take a look at what happened to bring out this yellow. It looks like Jason Miller is going to chase the lap car of Max Resner all the way up to the wall and turn him across the front of Brianna Prinzhorn. There goes those top 10s that both Prinzhorn and Menarez were gunning for. That's a huge disappointment for the both of them. But once more, this yellow is going to seal the victory for Daniela Jacobson. The young racer from Saginaw made her debut in this series in 2015, has progressively gotten faster ever since, and here today she's going to finally achieve her first career victory in the AST Voltson Super Trucks. We can always count on the Flat Rock Speedway to produce an amazing race each and every year we come here, and this year it produces a first-time winner as well. Congratulations to Daniela Jacobson and everyone on Team Michigan for this long-awaited maiden win. This is also the first win in the AST Voltson Super Trucks for a chassis wearing a Lennard body kit. Danny Richards Jr. is going to have to settle for the runner-up position after having led almost the entire race. It's still a fantastic effort from the Griffith Motorsports team, and Danny Vigo may not have dominated the race like he did last week, but he still gets a podium either way, having charged his way all the way up into third in the final minutes of the race. Fourth place for Caitlin Holt, the pole sitter, after a fantastic run of her own, and the first top 5 finish of his career will hopefully serve as a morale boost for Andy Piper in truck number 13. Wilson Timothy comes home 6th with Legend Hart scoring an impressive 7th place result. Alex DeFranco, speaking of drivers who finished higher than we were expecting, spent the entire race damaged and off the pace, and he still comes home with an 8th place finish. Jason Miller brings home his second top 10 result in as many races, and rounding out the top 10, after flying under the radar all race long, is Flip Papadopoulos. A very impressive and unexpected result for the Dale Clow racing driver from Chicago.